my fellow speakers in the session, and also about the 600 participants of the conference, the format, and it is apparent, and Andrea mentioned that already, um, uh, is online, and we will be looking at unprecedented changes which are taking places in our lives, the economy, and the industry in general. This is the core focus for us today. Apart from that, because of the corona crisis, we are looking to drastic changes in the energy prices, which Andrew mentioned. And if that has been something we were able to live through in the recent 20 to 25 days or years. But this time, the drop of energy prices has been accompanied with corona crisis, which provoked very serious changes in terms of consumption, which were the focus of many people in the petchem industry as well. And that's why I think it is worthwhile to mention the key trends in the area, and that is the bulk part of my presentation, which I shall start right now. And of course, I shall rather start with a description of what has been happening in terms of propagation of COVID-19, and that has provoked an economic shock on a worldwide scale. The information you see in front of you on the screen are the figures of confirmed cases all over the world. Without a doubt, this has been going on a global basis in more than 200 countries. About 165,000 infected have been registered in Russia since June. All over the world, more than 12 million people are infected with the virus. In Russia, the number of cases has reached 700,000 of registered cases. And it's interesting to point out, well, of course, it all started in China, which we all know, and for quite a while we saw how all that impacted that particular region. But nowadays, the bulk number of cases registered to a degree is in Europe, but primarily it is the Americas, US, Brazil, and as we see now, India. Which has ousted Russia from rank 3 in terms of confirmed cases numbers. But of course, that has been a major challenge for the people, the pandemic. But we are here to discuss the aftermath of that in terms of the impact onto demand and consumer industries behavior. And we have been seeing tremendous influence onto the transportation industry, construction industry, automotive industry, and the shift of global trading from standard channels onto online channels. Looking, for instance, at this analysis in slide 3, and that is courtesy of Roland Berger, and our consultant colleagues has been featuring the impact of corona crisis onto the key industries of the world economy. In upper right chart are the most suffering industries such as passenger air transportation, the tourist industry, of course, which is of less concern for us at the moment. But in terms of concentration of demand, that is a noticeable change. Retail, of course, suffered because there's been a major decline in sales volumes of non-food goods, and we've been seeing tremendous impact on the oil and gas segment, automotive industry, which is the largest consuming industry of petchems and its derivatives, and we do see that happening in quite a differentiated manner. We see the decline in China, and in the second quarter we saw the demand taking up back then, whereas Europe and the Americas has been suffering. Of course, there's been a very positive effect for that in the medical industry and everything which has to do with that. Hygiene products, disinfection products has been on the rise, but that is a limited number of industries which benefited from that. Construction industry has been recovering quite well, and of course there's been certain limitations in the civil segment. The next slide talks about how the demand on the key petrochemical products responds to that in line with the changes in the consuming industries. In the slide, there is the data from Wood Mackenzie as of end of June onto the key products, polyethylene of high density polyolefins, and we tried to demonstrate how each polymer is linked to an industry, and it is quite clear that everything which has to do with long-term consumption suffered quite a lot. The losses in the world demand in 2020 versus the forecast done in previous years is of course different, and long-term use products such as apparel and automotive industry, PVC went down 11% versus pre-crisis forecast, and that is basically through the delay in a number of construction projects. High-density polyethylene suffered because of declining demand on consumer products, losing about from 6 to 5% of the forecasted demand. Polypropylene also suffered. So the key products suffering did that because the people were locked down and the demand on relevant goods went down quite a bit. Now let us look at what's happening in separate regions and how the corona crisis impacted the demand in the relevant regions. This is what has been happening in the northeastern Asia, in the polyethylene and polypropylene markets. Quite dynamically developing markets according to the stats from 2019, but there's been a major drop as soon as Q1, and the drop was quite hefty, from 6 to 8% products based. So this is how the demand went down, quite considerable changes. And in the PP during